Good afternoon, I'm Milton Walker with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. The St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation yesterday carried out a sanitation exercise across the parish as it tries to reduce the spread of COVID-19. But while these activities are taking place, political representatives are encouraging citizens to exercise personal responsibility.
Up to Sunday afternoon, St. Elizabeth had only 5 confirmed cases of COVID-19. But like other municipal corporations across the country, St. Elizabeth is taking steps to reduce the spread of the virus. Mayor of Black River and the chairman of the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation, Derek Sangster, says Sunday's activity was a continuation of sanitization efforts across the parish.
We are sanitizing the town of Black River. We are doing Junction simultaneously. We're also doing Balaclava this morning. This is all towards trying as best as possible to keep the place as clean as possible, as sanitized as possible towards the prevention of the COVID-19 virus.
They've also made changes to some operations in the markets across the municipality.
Well, we have not set up a separate washing stand in the market. What we have done is to remove the fees that are charged at the existing sanitary facility for the period of time, provided extra sanitary materials for washing our hands and cleaning so that the persons in the market, the vendors, can have access to it on a free basis.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Elizabeth, Floyd Green, says while the government is playing its part, individuals too have a role to play.
While the government is on this drive, I think it's important for people to recognize that if we don't keep our towns clean and our places clean, then we will open up ourselves to various diseases. So this is part of the government's response, but people have a personal responsibility to do all they can to keep the place clean.
Giovanni Dennis, TVJ News.
President of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, the JAS, Lenrod Fulton, says farmers have not been adequately considered in government's care package to help persons cope with the fallout from the coronavirus. TVJ News spoke with the JAS president in Port St. Catherine, which is under lockdown because of a spike in COVID-19 cases there.
Because farmers will go out of business, and how will they be restarted if there is no really stimulus for agriculture? 200 million there, that turned 240 million, is a redistribution from the production incentive program that was already in the budget. So nothing new.
He noted that provisions have been made for large players in the productive sector, but small farmers have been overlooked.
You have for hotel workers, but those who produce the food for the hotel were not included in the package. They have an area there for compassionate grant. It is driven by a TRN. A TRN is not a compulsory number. There are other numbers like the voter registration number and land title number and so on that you could have used to drive the program. So you excluded most seasonal workers and farmers.
The parliamentary opposition says the media release issued last night by the Ministry of Health on the new coronavirus cases lacked details. The release said there are now 196 confirmed cases of COVID-19, 23 new cases over a 24-hour period. Opposition spokesman in Health, Dr. Moraesky, says the ministry did not indicate whether there are COVID-19 cases at another call centre.
The latest release Sunday, April 19, speaks to 113 cases under investigation, 95 associated with a workplace cluster. Of note, the one issued yesterday spoke to 84 Alarica workers, but we are also aware that one other BPO entity was tested. What is the status of these, and are any of the numbers in the latest 23 accounting for the other BPO facility?
Dr. Guy says workers at the other call centre are worried.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness in their release need to be transparent and indicate, in this particular instance, what are the numbers from Alarica and what are the numbers from the other BPO entity which was tested. We are calling on the ministry to give us the information, give the nation the information, because we ought to know, we have a right to know whether the other entities tested are positive and what measures are going to be put in place.
There has been strong objection from several JPS customers about the high electricity bills for April, but the utility company says this has resulted from increased usage. In recent days, several JPS customers have taken to social media to complain that their bills have gone up. The customers said that they were at a loss as to the cause of the increase. When contacted last night, Director of Corporate Communications and Customer Experience at the JPS, Winsome Callum, said the company had seen an increase in electricity consumption. Ms. Callum said this could be attributed to more persons being at home since the outbreak of the coronavirus. She confirmed that the JPS has received reports from customers about higher than normal bills.
And in walking through the bills with each customer who calls in, what we're seeing is that there is an increase in the actual electricity used by each customer. Now, we're not going to make any assumptions that everybody is now working at home, but in speaking with the customers that we've had the opportunity to interact with, what we're finding is that the children being home, along with the home becoming an office, they've actually been using more electricity, and in a few cases we've seen the cooling devices, the fans and ACs being used more than usual.
The Jamaica Teachers Association, the JTA, says there could be disruptions in online teaching this week as educators have become agitated after not being reimbursed for expenses they have incurred since the closure of schools last month. JTA President Owen Speed told our news centre that teachers have been dipping in their pockets to cover the cost of providing online lessons, including purchasing data. He says some teachers have seen a sharp increase in their electricity bills.
We are talking about increases of sometimes over 30%, and our teachers need to be compensated, because if they were at schools, then certainly they wouldn't be there to be using this kind of additional resource.
Mr. Speed says the teachers are demanding an urgent response from the Education Ministry.
The teachers are crying out that there is no redress and there seems to be no appropriate plan, no detailed plan, no structured plan coming in from the government of Jamaica to say to them that they will help them in financially to carry the burden of these online classes. We are seeing that the online teaching is going to be coming under severe threat if the government of Jamaica doesn't stand up and put its hands up and say to us that they are going to be providing the necessary resources to carry out this kind of teaching.
We take a break now on Midday News. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Continuing the news. The Jamaican crew members aboard the Morella Discovery 2 who were denied a request to disembark the vessel in early April while in Jamaican waters have hired an attorney to lobby the administration. It's understood that the Morella Discovery 2 is currently docked in Southampton in the United Kingdom with no indication from the British authorities whether the Jamaican crew members will be allowed to leave the vessel. Attorney Jennifer Hooson, who has been retained by some of the stranded Jamaicans, argues that other members of the various nationalities have been granted permission to disembark, with arrangements being made for them to return home. She has written to the Foreign Minister seeking her intervention in helping the stranded Jamaican workers to return home.
Well, in light of the presence of the crew members in the UK port, and on behalf of my clients and all the Jamaican crew members aboard the Morella Discovery 2, I request the Ministry communicate with its UK counterpart to extend a similar accommodation to the Jamaican crew members as the Jamaican government extended to the UK nationals on the 17th of March 2020, specifically that the Jamaican crew members be allowed to disembark in the UK for onward travel to Jamaica, and any requirement for transit visas be waived given that these are extraordinary times, with the ministry arranging a flight for the repatriation of all the Jamaican crew members back to Jamaica.
She says the crew members remain in the dark regarding their fate.
Additionally, I would respectfully ask that I be kept apprised of the details of repatriation in respect of my clients, but notwithstanding that such repatriation information also be disseminated to the captain of the vessel for transmission to the Jamaican crew members or directly to the crew members themselves, as there seems to simply be public utterances of assistance from the government, with the crew members being wholly unaware of these, as no information has been disseminated to them from the ministry or otherwise.
Addressing a recent press conference, Prime Minister Andrew Holness indicated that a draft protocol in relation to the repatriation of Jamaicans overseas had been formulated and was being discussed. Leroy Burrell, otherwise called Caliber Tickman or Baby King, aged 24 years old, was this morning killed by the police in the mangroves close to the Portmore Toll Plaza. He is one of 8 people who escaped the Hunts Bay police lockup on Sunday. Burrell was facing charges for 3 counts of murder, illegal possession of a firearm and robbery. Another escapee, Ricardo Johnson, otherwise called Bull, was brought in by his mother, an attorney. He is in custody for murder. The other escapees are 18-year-old Shavar Smith, otherwise called Boy Boy. He was held for murder. 25-year-old Madeline Lemon, otherwise called Mallow. He was held for murder and shooting. 30-year-old Michael Orlando Ellis was held for illegal possession of firearm and ammunition and robbery. There is 30-year-old Nicholas Anthony Petrie, better known as Nico or Gamecock. He is in custody for, or was in custody on charges of murder, illegal possession of firearm and ammunition, housebreaking and rape. 23-year-old Roger Christopher Gaynor, better known as Screechy, he was charged under the anti-gang legislation. And 22-year-old Kenor Holness, also called Oliver, he was held on illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. The St. Catherine police are still probing a shooting incident which left 1 man dead and another injured in Fairview Park, Spanish Town over the weekend. The dead man has been identified as 47-year-old William Patrick Christian, a motor vehicle examiner at the Manchester Examination Depot. It's not clear how the incident unfolded, but on Saturday, about 2:40 in the afternoon, residents heard explosions and summoned the police. On arrival, Mr. Christian's body was found with what appeared to be gunshot wounds. He was rushed to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Another man was also injured during the incident, has been admitted in hospital. TVJ News understands that Mr. Christian's attacker was wearing a mask. Overseas, New York has had the most cases of the coronavirus in the United States, and is also leading that nation in research. New findings are expected Monday on a potential treatment for COVID-19. There's also progress to report on antibody testing in New York. The details from the CNN.
Thank you very much.
For weeks, President Trump has jousted with health officials over the drug hydroxychloroquine to fight coronavirus. The president seems to be a big fan.
What do you have to lose? I'll say it again. What do you have to lose? Take it. I really think they should take it.
But the nation's top infectious disease doctor says we need to study it before we know if it works or not.
There are no proven safe and effective therapies for the coronavirus.
Today, we expect to get a hint as to whether hydroxychloroquine could help treat coronavirus patients. Preliminary results are expected from the first large-scale study of the drug in coronavirus patients. Funded by the state of New York, it involves hundreds of hospitalized patients and was conducted by the University at Albany. New York not only making headway on investigating possible treatments for the coronavirus, but on testing as well.
Extraordinary job.
Governor Andrew Cuomo on Sunday announcing that his state will conduct the largest antibody survey in the nation. If someone has antibodies to COVID-19, it means they were infected and may now be immune.
We'll take thousands of tests, antibody tests, over this next week, all across the state, to give us a real snapshot, a real baseline of exactly how many people were infected by coronavirus.
Public health experts are hoping to eventually conduct widespread antibody testing across the nation. If enough people are immune, then possibly the country could start safely opening up again.
In sports, UEFA will provide an update on plans to finish the 2019-2020 season to all its 55 national associations at a video conference on Tuesday. European football's governing body hopes to end the campaign in August, although with every league except Belarus still suspended, there are doubts over whether that deadline can be met. UEFA has launched 2 working groups, one specifically assessing the fixture calendar. Its hope specific proposals will be presented by mid-May at the latest. However, the continuing uncertainty over the spread of the coronavirus is creating major issues, with some leagues, including Germany and Denmark, talking optimistically about a resumption next month. Others, England among them, believe it will be June at the earliest before they can play games, and some Premier League clubs feel it will be longer than that. And that's Midday News. I'm Milton Walker. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.